60 Minutes has a sterling reputation for investigative journalism. Are they wrong?
But that's not investigative journalism if you change someone's answers. If you ask her a question and she comes with a rambling answer that doesn't make sense, and you edit that out and insert another answer to a different question that seems more cogent. No, but it's not that. It's editing things to make deceptive editing.
Joe,
so in deceptive editing,
I don't
you
know
give people a different perception of who this candidate is than reality.
But you got to explain.
But that's not objective journalism.
I know, but
that's campaigning for that person.
Joe Rogan just went at Bernie Sanders on his own podcast, and it was pure chaos. It felt like Bernie walked in expecting one of those soft left-wing shows where nothing gets challenged. Big mistake. Rogan hit him with real questions and real pushback, and it showed exactly why his podcast is the place for honest talk, no matter your politics. I've got the full breakdown ready for you, so hit that like button and let's jump straight into it.
Elon Musk, and I know Elon was on your show, and he's here at Austin, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, and we could talk about Elon, but he spent $270 million to elect Trump as president, okay? I think that's absurd that any one person...
What's the most someone donated towards the Harris campaign?
They spent a lot of money on Harris as well.
They spent $1.5 billion just over the course of a couple of months.
You got it. All right, let me talk about it. So I'm not here just to say it's a Republican. That's my point here.
This is what happens when someone lives too long inside their own echo chamber. Bernie Sanders is so used to friendly platforms that repeat his attacks on Trump and the rich, he clearly thought Joe Rogan's show would be the same. Big mistake. When Bernie took a shot at Elon Musk for reportedly donating over $200 million to Trump's campaign, Rogan fired back with a simple fact. Vice President Kamala Harris raised around $1.5 billion in just a few months. And the second that landed, Bernie switched gears fast, dodging, deflecting, and dancing around the hypocrisy like a pro-politician caught on the spot. That's the thing about Rogan's show. It's not a safe space for one side. It's where stories get tested, especially when the facts don't match the narrative. Bernie walked in expecting soft questions, but Rogan came throwing fastballs.
What about the other the other lawsuit with the conversation that they had with Kamala Harris, where they edited the answers that she had to make it look more precise?
60 Minutes, they were suing 60 Minutes.
Yes.
Is, to my mind, historically, they've been around for a very long time. You know, they're not infallible, but I think you look at most objective people will say 60 Minutes has a sterling reputation for investigative journalism. Are they wrong?
But that's not investigative journalism if you change someone's answers. If you ask her a question and she comes with a rambling answer that doesn't make sense, and you edit that out and insert another answer to a different question that seems more cogent.
Oh, I'm enjoying every second of this. After getting put on the spot by Joe Rogan, Bernie Sanders tried to save himself with a quick pivot. This time, he went after Donald Trump for suing 60 Minutes over the way they edited Kamala Harris's interview. But Rogan wasn't letting it slide. He cut him off, calm but firm, with a simple, "Not so fast, my friend." Rogan held his ground and called out 60 Minutes, saying what they did wasn't just bad journalism, it was flat-out dishonest. Bernie looked shaken and rushed to defend the outlet, saying 60 Minutes is a trusted organization known for strong investigative work. But Rogan wasn't buying it. He pushed back again and refused to give legacy media a free pass just because it fits the left's narrative. And that's the playbook right there. When they get exposed, they don't own it, they pivot. They distract, deflect, and spin until the story works for them again. But on Rogan's turf, that trick doesn't work. So Bernie tries another move.
And you're walking down, you're walking down a dangerous path. Suing media has the impact of intimidating media. All right, if somebody sues you, all right, let me finish, all right?
Okay.
Somebody sues you, you know, why not you? You could be sued tomorrow, right? Because you are doing this, you're too sympathetic to this.
Right.
And Joe, you did that, and they have a big law firm behind you, and you're going to have to spend zillions of dollars defending yourself. You know what? Next time you do an interview, you say, maybe I'm not going to go in that area. Right?
No, but it's not that. It's editing things to make deceptive editing.
Joe,
so in deceptive editing, you give people a different perception of who this candidate is than reality.
Right, but you got to explain.
But that's not objective journalism.
I know, but
that's campaigning for that person.
Right, but
would you agree with that?
Sanders tried a new trick this time. Classic emotional pressure. He tried to corner Joe Rogan by saying, "If you support what Trump's doing, it could happen to you too." The message was clear. Criticize the media and you're next in line for payback. But Joe didn't take the bait. He calmly broke it down and said Bernie was mixing up two totally different things. Rogan explained there's a huge difference between being sued for doing real, fair journalism and being called out for acting like a propaganda machine for one candidate. One is an attack on press freedom. The other is what happens when you play politics while pretending to be neutral. What Bernie didn't expect was that Rogan doesn't fold to emotional pressure. He's not MSNBC. He doesn't panic when someone throws the guilt card. And that's why this interview went sideways for Bernie. He came to preach, but Rogan came ready.
I don't have those details. I don't know that I agree with your analysis of it. I don't know enough.
I think that's universally accepted that that's what they did.
Then you got to tell me why he is suing ABC. Why he's suing Meta.
Let's just talk about the 60 Minutes one first.
No, but it's not just
we could go to ABC, but I'm not aware of that one either.
Well, George Stephanopoulos said something that he didn't like. But the point is,
what did Stephanopoulos say?
I can't remember. It was I honestly don't remember. But
well, I think what he was saying was factually incorrect about the results of one of Trump's trials.
All right. Guess what? If I were to sue everybody who said things that were factually incorrect about me, I'd be suing people zillions of times.
And this is the guy who wants to lead the country. Someone who can't give a straight answer when the questions get tough. It's honestly wild. Bernie Sanders keeps proving he's not acting like a leader. He's acting like a political performer driven by pure Trump obsession. His focus on Donald Trump clouds his judgment, his logic, and his fairness. Instead of dealing with facts, he falls back on emotion, outrage, and political drama. Trump is suing ABC and other media outlets for allegedly using deceptive and manipulative tactics to damage his campaign. That's not an attack on free speech. That's pushing back against deliberate misinformation. There's a big difference between reporting real, verified facts and twisting stories to push a political agenda. But Bernie either doesn't see that or pretends not to. Because when it comes to Trump, the rules change. Integrity disappears. Consistency goes out the window. Bernie isn't trying to lead a country. He's trying to settle a personal score, and that's dangerous.
My concern is when you have media organizations that are purported to be objective, and then they say things that are defamatory and factually incorrect, and they should know that before they say it. What other course does a person have other than a lawsuit? And isn't it important that you shine the light on what is a political bias?
Then we're
from an organization that you would hope would be objective.
Joe Rogan hit the nail on the head once again. What I really respect is how he relentlessly keeps Bernie Sanders accountable. No soft questions, no easy passes. Every loose comment and every baseless claim gets challenged. And Rogan doesn't let Bernie spin his way out. That's exactly what journalism should be. Fair, firm, and without favoritism. If more media outlets followed Rogan's example, Americans would have a much clearer view of who's real and who's just putting on a performance. The phonies wouldn't last 5 minutes under that kind of scrutiny. Now, let's be clear. I'm not saying the government should go around punishing media. Free press is essential. But if a media outlet keeps spreading falsehoods and propaganda, there should be consequences, whether legal, reputational, or financial. Unchecked deception isn't journalism, it's manipulation. And the American people deserve better. Bad journalism should be called out for what it is. As you'll see in this video,
the fake news media is really hitting new lows, so eager to restart their debunked Russian conspiracy theories that they somehow managed to mix up this man, Modi, the Indian Prime Minister, with this dude, Vladimir Putin. Easy mistake to make if you've lost all reasoning, any semblance of objectivity when you are an activist journalist for MSNBC. Here are some of the corrections.
Last night, The Last Word reported on excerpts of an interview between the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, and an Indian TV news network in which she said Trump was good friends with the world leader. Now, we said that world leader was Vladimir Putin, but the full interview was subsequently released, and it showed that Gabbard was referring to Donald Trump and the Indian Prime Minister, Narendra Modi.
Real, fact-based journalism is supposed to prevent disasters like this. But apparently, MSNBC didn't get the memo. If they had just taken the time to watch the full interview before reacting, they could have avoided the embarrassment of having to backtrack on their reckless narrative. Instead, they jump to conclusions, obsessed with linking Donald Trump to Vladimir Putin at every chance. Their drive for political points completely overshadowed any commitment to truth or integrity. In their rush, they tossed core journalistic principles, objectivity, verification, and fairness right out the window. The result? A very public display of media malpractice. This isn't just a small mistake. It's a sign of a deeper problem in modern journalism. Too many outlets have turned into activists with microphones, spinning half-truths into headlines. And until that changes, these humiliating walkbacks won't stop. They'll only get louder.
So Tulsi Gabbard mentions that Trump is good friends with a world leader, and they not only just assumed she's talking about Vladimir Putin, but then they report that as if it were fact on television. That's what happened. Let's hear one more correction from MSNBC on that issue.
Last night, we reported on excerpts of an interview between the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, and an Indian TV news network, in which she said that Trump was good friends with a world leader. We said that world leader was Vladimir Putin, but the full interview shows that Gabbard was referring to Trump and Indian Prime Minister Modi. I'll clear that up.
So, these are the kinds of media outlets Bernie Sanders rushes to defend. One so blatantly biased they don't even bother hiding it anymore? It's ridiculous. For years, Sanders has built his image around fairness, equal opportunities, and a level playing field for everyone. But when it comes to the media, that standard suddenly vanishes. Where's the demand for journalistic neutrality? Where's the outrage when media push narratives instead of reporting facts? Silence. It's telling. Sanders doesn't seem to want unbiased media. He wants media that repeat his beliefs. That's not fighting for truth. That's fighting for control. And it highlights a huge hypocrisy in his so-called fight for justice. You can't preach fairness while excusing propaganda. You can't demand truth while defending spin. If Sanders really cared about integrity, he'd call out media bias just as strongly as he calls out billionaires. But he doesn't. And that says everything.
The worst vice presidential candidate we have seen, the uniquely awful Tim Walz, Tampon Tim. Remember him? He had all sorts of delusions of being vice president. Now he has delusions of being a presidential candidate, and he thinks he's a tough guy. Here he responds to media pundits who mocked his lack of masculinity.
How do you fight it?
This
I think I could kick most of their ass. I do think that if they wanted to. I know I can run them, but I don't know if we're going to fall into that place where we want to. Okay, we challenge you to a WWE fight here type of thing.
Good luck with that, Tim. I think Judge Janine has you covered.
While Bernie Sanders was busy pandering to the woke media on Joe Rogan's podcast, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz was off doing something just as absurd, challenging Republican men to a physical fight. Yes, really. It seems Walz thinks proving his masculinity comes not from leadership or principle, but from flexing his fists and bragging about changing truck tires, like that's the ultimate measure of being a man. Here's the truth. Real masculinity isn't about throwing punches or showing off skills. It's about having the courage to stand up for what's right, even when it's unpopular, even when the woke mob is pressuring you. Being a man means defending truth, taking responsibility, and refusing to bend to ideological pressure. Sadly, Walz and others like him confuse macho posturing with moral courage. In doing so, they turn manhood into a circus act. And when you strip away all the theateristics, one thing becomes clear. The left's obsession with narrative over truth is catching up with them. From Bernie Sanders squirming under Joe Rogan's questions to Tim Walz's laughable displays of fake masculinity, the cracks are showing. Americans are waking up. We don't need biased media, emotional manipulation, or performative politics. We need truth, accountability, and real leadership. Thankfully, voices like Rogan's make it harder for the phonies to hide. That brings us to the end of today's video. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button and subscribe for more content like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.